Egypt's new government is setting out a roadmap for the country's political future, but the Muslim Brotherhood won't go quietly, and it's calling on followers to rise up in protest. As Chris Mitchell reports from Cairo, the very future of Egypt may hang in the balance.
Egypt's new president set out a timetable for his political roadmap. At the same time, Muslim Brotherhood members were continuing their call for the reinstatement of Mohamed Morsi in another part of the city.
God willing, we are protesting in all squares until the return of Morsi.
While Muslim Brotherhood supporters protested, they're also refusing to join the new political process.
This fight is for the heart and soul of Egypt and the Middle East for generations to come.
Michael Munir, president of the Al Hayat Party, says Egypt's future is being determined now. He says the question is if Egypt's new constitution will be based on political Islam that drives groups like the Muslim Brotherhood.
Would political Islam be the driving force behind this whole 100 years to come, or is it going to be moderations, civil liberty, democracy, human rights, religious freedom? And this you cannot get with a constitution that's based on a religion.
Munir says the outcome of the constitution will have a huge impact on the millions of Christians in Egypt.
For the long term and for the future, and if we have the constitutions that we want to have that respects civil liberty and religious freedom, I think the future is going to be much better for Christians.
That hope for a better future and greater freedom is why Christians took to the streets during what many people are calling Egypt's second revolution. Chris Mitchell, CBN News, Cairo, Egypt.
And one other item from Egypt, another Christian has been killed in the Sinai Peninsula. 60-year-old Magdi Habashi was kidnapped last Saturday by Islamic militants. His decapitated body was found this morning in a cemetery. Habashi is the second Christian to be killed in the region. A Coptic priest was gunned down last week as he walked in an outdoor market. Egyptian Christians are facing growing retaliation for opposing President Mohamed Morsi days after the military coup. Muslim extremists in southern Egypt burned dozens of Christian homes and stabbed 4 believers to death.
Is Egypt on the brink of civil war? Gary Lane posed that question and others to Hudson Institute fellow Samuel Tadros. Tadros says the country's political future may depend on the actions of the Muslim Brotherhood.
The Brotherhood so far has not decided to go to any violent means. It has decided to contest this military move by holding massive demonstrations in the Egyptian streets. And by doing so, their strategy is basically that of Chavez in Venezuela when there was a coup against him. And that is basically by continuously remaining on the street, offering themselves as martyrs, as they put it. They are forcing the Egyptian military to back off. Of course, the military is not likely to do so.
Well, do you think we'll then see a crackdown on the Brotherhood to the extent that we've seen in the past, where they're outlawed and banned?
The problem, of course, is that even under Hosni Mubarak's rule, you got 1,000 arrests here and there, but the Brotherhood existed. We're talking about an organization of 500,000 members at least. So arresting 500,000 people is not likely to happen tomorrow or any time in the future. So a political solution is the one that everyone is hoping for or seeking, whereby the organization as a whole would feel that it is not alienated from the political game and would have some kind of arrangement to continue in the Egyptian system.
How can elections for a new parliament and president move forward without the support of the Salafis and the Islamists?
Those people received 72% of the votes of the Egyptian population. And they're not about to disappear from the country. They're there, their bases are there. Yes, you've closed a couple of TV channels. Yes, you've arrested a couple of people here and there. But at the end of the day, the Islamization of the Egyptian society is now deeply rooted. It's a phenomenon that started a long time ago. So you cannot ignore them. You want to reach a formula that allows the Islamists to participate in the political process, that they feel that they have a stake in the country, yet they're not allowed to dominate it completely.
Now, American aid, we give almost $2 billion a year in total aid to Egypt. Do you think the aid should be discontinued?
the U.S. now finds itself in a situation where it has lost the support of what is considered its traditional allies, which are the liberals, seculars, Christians, and so on. At the same time, it's afraid to anger the Islamists, because if the U.S. is seen as backing this military coup, it will be a grievance, a grudge that the Islamists will hold against the United States for hundreds of years to come. So it will become something like the Mossadegh removal in Iran. Because of this, the U.S. needs to take a firm position that it does not support the idea of removing a democratically elected government by force, even if we know this government has been not in its best behavior, even if we don't like this government. Most of the U.S. aid has already been spent in this regard. There's no likely spending to occur in the next couple of months. So by taking a position of suspending U.S. aid for the next 4 or 5 months until a parliamentary or presidential elections take place, we set not to lose our relationship with the Egyptian army, because the aid will not in reality be affected, but it will send a strong message that we uphold the principles of democratic elections and civilian governments.
And you can see more of Gary's interview, including Tadros' comments about the Egyptian church, on this Friday's edition of Christian World News.